In Act 5, Scene 2 of William Shakespeare's Othello, we find ourselves in the dim light of Othello's bedroom, a place that has become the setting for tragedy and betrayal. The scene opens with Othello, the Moorish general of Venice, entering his chamber, deeply troubled and filled with the weight of his actions. He is grappling with the devastating belief that his beloved wife, Desdemona, has been unfaithful to him with Cassio, a younger officer. Overcome with jealousy and rage, Othello has resolved to confront this perceived betrayal with the most extreme measure. He has decided to kill Desdemona. As Othello stands alone, he reflects on the love he once had for Desdemona and the trust he has now shattered. He holds a candle in his hand, its flickering light illuminating the darkness of his heart. He speaks to himself, lamenting the loss of his honor and the pain inflicted by the very person he loved the most. In a moment of deep inner conflict, he recalls the tenderness and purity of Desdemona, which only intensifies his anguish. Yet, the poison of Iago's manipulations has taken root in his mind, leading him to believe that death is the only way to restore his honor and silence the doubts that plague him. As he approaches Desdemona, who lies sleeping in their bed, Othello is torn between love and hate. He struggles with the image of her innocence, but the imagined betrayal clouds his judgment. He speaks softly to her, calling her name, and as she stirs awake, he is struck by her beauty and grace. Desdemona, still half asleep and disoriented, responds with concern, sensing something is not right. She asks Othello why he looks so troubled and why he has come to her at such a late hour. Her innocence and love shine through as she reaches out to him, trying to soothe his evident distress. In this moment, Othello's resolve begins to waver. He questions himself, grappling with the horror of what he is about to do. But Iago's deceitful words echo in his mind, urging him to act. Othello, caught in this emotional turmoil, ultimately accuses Desdemona of infidelity. He tells her that he has heard of her affair with Cassio, and her confusion only deepens the tragedy. Desdemona, bewildered, protests her innocence, insisting that she has been faithful to him. She does not understand why Othello would accuse her of such a grievous sin. As the conversation escalates, Othello's anger boils over. He can no longer separate the truth from the lies spun by Iago. He feels betrayed, not just by Desdemona but by his own judgment. In a moment of unfathomable despair, Othello decides to carry out his deadly intention. He tells Desdemona that he must kill her, claiming it is for her own good, to save her soul from the supposed sins she has committed. Desdemona, now fully awake and terrified, pleads for her life, desperately trying to convince Othello of her loyalty. In a heartbreaking exchange, Desdemona calls out for Cassio, hoping that mentioning his name will provoke a reaction from Othello. She tries to explain that she has done nothing wrong, that her heart belongs solely to him. Yet, Othello's mind is made up. He believes he is acting in the name of justice. Desdemona's cries of innocence fall on deaf ears, and Othello, consumed by jealousy and rage, begins to suffocate her. As he presses down, Desdemona gasps for air, her pleas growing weaker. In her final moments, she utters the words, "Othello, I am your true wife," a poignant reminder of the love that once existed between them. As Desdemona lies dying, Emilia, Iago's wife, enters the scene. She immediately senses that something is wrong and rushes to Desdemona's side. Emilia tries to revive her, but it is too late. Desdemona is lifeless, a victim of Othello's misguided wrath. Emilia confronts Othello, demanding to know what has happened. She reveals that Desdemona was innocent, and Othello, now realizing the enormity of his crime, begins to unravel. He is overwhelmed with guilt, horror, and regret as Emilia reveals Iago's treachery, the manipulative lies that led him to take such a drastic action against his beloved. Emilia's unwavering loyalty to Desdemona shines through as she exposes Iago's deception. She recounts how Iago had planted the seeds of doubt in Othello's mind, twisting the truth until it became unrecognizable. The gravity of Othello's actions sinks in, and he becomes distraught, realizing that he has killed the one person he loved the most based on falsehoods. Othello's transformation from a proud general to a broken man is complete. He is left with nothing but remorse, and his heart is heavy with the weight of his decision. As Emilia continues to speak, revealing Iago's plots, Othello becomes desperate for redemption. He feels he cannot escape the consequences of his actions. The realization that he has been manipulated by his trusted ensign, Iago, adds to his despair. Othello's once noble character has been tarnished by jealousy and rage, and he is left grappling with the reality of what he has done. In a moment of shocking clarity, he understands that Iago's lies have cost him everything: his love, his honor, and ultimately, his life. In a fit of grief and anger, Othello seeks justice against Iago. He expresses his desire to confront Iago and make him pay for the destruction he has caused. But the weight of his own guilt is overwhelming, and he realizes that he cannot escape the truth of his actions. Othello's torment culminates in a tragic decision: he chooses to end his own life as a means of atonement for the murder of Desdemona. The scene closes with Othello taking his own life, a final act of despair that seals the tragic fate of a once great man. Act 5, Scene 2 of Othello is a powerful exploration of love, betrayal, and the devastating effects of jealousy. It highlights the tragic consequences of manipulation and the fragility of trust in relationships. The raw emotions exhibited by the characters serve as a poignant reminder of the destructive power of lies and the importance of seeking the truth before making irreversible decisions. Othello's tragic downfall is a reflection of the human experience, where love and jealousy can intertwine, leading to devastating outcomes that resonate throughout the ages.